um, per Dr. Money, who I work with, it's actually fight or flight, freeze, and fawn, because a lot of times we just freeze when we know we're in danger, so think of like rabbits. And then we have the fawn response, which
Mhm.
is you just sort of sit back and you're meek and you just agree with everything that's being said until you can remove yourself from the situation. So your amygdala, as I mentioned earlier, is wired about 80% to pick up on negativity.
Mhm.
Now it does pick up on positivity too and remembers those things as well, but it is much more likely to be negatively reactive to a situation. So when we think about um, how we communicate with others, how we approach situation, what our initial reactions are to things, that's really what drives a lot of our unconscious behavior, our unconscious decision making. Um, so, you brought up earlier about typical therapy, and this makes so much sense to me. Uh, Typical therapy, unfortunately, reiterates the problem instead of clearing it from the body. And you know what? I thought about that a long time ago when I first started understanding the role of myelination
Mhm.
in the brain. So, for those of you listening, you've probably heard of myelination in terms of MS, multiple sclerosis. In people who have MS, the myelin is degrading. And myelin is like the insulation around your neurons. So, think like electrical tape. And the more myelinated one of your neuron connections is, the more layers of electrical tape it has, the faster it can recall memories, the faster, you can move. And when you don't have myelin, you can't move. Your neurons actually get degraded because there's a lot of things that can attack the neurons that are floating around just in the interstitial fluid in your brain. But we know the way to build myelin is to think about something. You
Mhm.
myelinate what you think about. So here we are, rehashing, as you said, over and over and over these horrible things, and we're myelinating them and making them even more pronounced in our memories instead of less. And that's why the negative talk tracks get laid down. Oh, I can't do this, or I'll never be as good as so and so, or I'm not even going to bother trying because I know I'll just fail. Like those are negative talk tracks that you've thought so many times that they got super myelinated. And so that's what comes up immediately instead of, you know what, I got this, or I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to try and see what happens.